your fault. It was the fault of leadership, and I'm here to provide that leadership. He was hungry to take that responsibility for leadership and to be accountable for it. And he promised he would bring an emergency session into Congress to deal with the banking crisis and to get jobs. I'll get jobs now. Will be action now. It was so impressive that suddenly there were headlines all over the country. We have a leader. We have a leader. We have a government. And hundreds of thousands of letters went into the White House telling him they were so glad he was there. My favorite one came from a guy who said his roof had fallen off, his wife was mad at him, his dog had run away, and he had lost his job, but now everything was all right because you were there. It's that magic of leadership, and somehow he followed through with those words and did bring the emergency session in. They solved the immediate banking crisis, and then he kept them in power until 100 days, and during that time, all the safety nets, the Social Security Department and the, not Social Security, yes, Social Security is going to come later, but the SEC and the getting people in jobs in the public works jobs and all of those safety net programs, unemployment insurance coming over the time, and somehow he's able to bring the country through the Depression until the mobilization for the war ends the Depression. And then what he has to do is to pivot, because in his relationship with the business community at the end of the 1930s, he had developed a kind of hostile relationship with them, but he knew that the only way we could help England in 1940, when Hitler came in 1 week's time, conquers Western Europe, Holland, Belgium, Luxembourg all surrendered to Germany. Soon France is going to fall. And Churchill is desperately looking for us to help him. But we are only, it's incredible, Kristen, we're only 18th in military power. We become 17th when Holland surrenders. That's how low down our military establishment was. We let it fail from the Great Depression and World War I. We had only 500 fighter planes, and that was a one-day supply in the war. We had more horses than tanks. We had very few modern weapons. So he knew that he had to change his relationship with the business community. Only they could build the ships, the tanks, and the weapons. So he reaches out with an olive branch. He brings in two top production people, the head of General Motors, the head of Sears Roebuck, to become his production people in Washington. He puts two top Republicans into his cabinet, Stimson and Knox, and he offers antitrust easings, better contracts, depreciation easier, and he starts the assembly line going right in the spring of 1940, so that even before Pearl Harbor, we begin to incredibly move out these weapons that can help England. And then once we get into the war with Pearl Harbor, that business-government partnership is absolutely simply magic. And by 1943, we're producing a plane every 4 minutes, a tank every 7 minutes, and a ship was launched every day that used to take, in 1939, 250 days to be able to launch. So somehow, when we imagine that, and we can think, if we can do that then, why can we not do something like that now? Why can there not be these partnerships that are working together for the history of the country? And hopefully it doesn't have to take a war to make that happen. But he was able to do that, and somehow the most important thing he had throughout that all, he communicated with the people through those fireside chats, and they felt that they trusted him. You know, he would start those fireside chats, even from the first one during the banking crisis, "My friends, I'm here to talk to you tonight." And somehow people thought he was talking directly to them. There's a story about a construction worker hurrying home one night, and his partner said, "Where are you going?" He said, "Well, my president, he's coming to be with me in my living room tonight. It's only right that I be there to greet him when he comes." How great is that? And he spoke in simple words. He never liked to use two-syllable words if it could be one-syllable word. Somebody wrote a draft for him once saying, "We want a more inclusive society," and he changed it to, "We want a society in which no one is left out." How much better is that? And he made people feel he was explaining the problems to them, and he was telling them why we were moving in that direction, so they felt they were going with him. And actually, when he died, he said that people stood on those little village squares with their arms around one another, and the most important thing they said, almost in unison, without knowing the other people had said it, is, "We have lost our friend. We have lost our friend." So that was the direct bond he had established with people to help carry them through the Depression and the war. And then the people, of course, responded. The soldiers responded, the home front responded, and it was an extraordinary thing to live in that time.
Well, it underscores the magic component to his presidency, the fact that he was able to create that direct contact with so many people across the country. And another magic moment came with the leadership of John F. Kennedy,